Oh, no, there we go. Okay.
You're talking about like how
I got into it.
how you got into it, and then the research aspect of it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You're on.
We're on.
Yep.
We're on already. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're here again. I'm Ananda Moore, director, producer of Magic Pills, a documentary on homeopathy, and we are in Niagara Falls for the Canadian Homeopathic Conference. And I'm here with Dr. Alex Tournier, who's a physicist, a researcher, one of the founders of the Homeopathic Research Institute, which is doing really incredible work on getting more research done, more in the public eye, analyzing research that's being put out there, and getting it into getting more people aware, basically, about what's going on there. So Alex, I really wanted to we've got a lot of noise in the background, but I really wanted to follow up on the discussion we had last night around how you discovered homeopathy and how you got into it in the first place.
Yeah, so cool. So how did I get into homeopathy? Well, for me, a bit of a classic story in homeopathy. I got sick, and then I tried. So conventional medicine had nothing to offer for me, so I kind of went through the tour of all complementary medicines, and homeopathy was one of them. And I thought, okay, let's try that. It was not impressive.
What do you mean by not impressive?
Well, you don't have like if you try acupuncture, you have needles, and it gets quite impressive. You got like stuff happening. Yeah. And in homeopathy, you get 3 little pills in a little bag, and they tell you, well, take it when you feel you need it, and you go, okay. And it's not like the most impressive medicine. And at the time, I was doing I was studying a PhD in theoretical physics, and so I was not really expecting much from my 3 little pills, and it did something. I really felt better after taking the remedy. And
Are you willing to tell me what was wrong?
Oh, I had chronic fatigue. Yeah, chronic fatigue. We suspect I had Lyme disease, but at the time nobody knew about it, so that was just pretty sick. Yeah.
And what, like, I think you told me you were sleeping a lot.
No, I was sleeping like 19 hours a day. Like, I was at the worst of it. I was really out. So yeah, homeopathy really helped me with the sleepiness and getting better.
Yeah. Did you feel an immediate effect? Did it take?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was literally. I was about to, sleep for 3 days because that's what I would do, and then I took the remedy. You slept for 10 minutes and then got up and went to about a normal day, and I was like, wow, that's quite a result from no expectation. So it got me thinking. You go, I didn't know that could happen. I didn't expect it. Let's find out more type of question in my mind. So I really caught me thinking, and then I tried it again, and it kind of worked again, and I was like, okay, this is very. So it started me on the journey, and I started reading about it, started to look at the research, realized that this research was interesting yet inconclusive, that we needed more, and so on and so on. So I was like, okay, this is curious enough. This is really a curious effect. We need to find out more. Got me, got the ball rolling for me in terms of getting involved in the research and getting more research going, and high quality research on all those topics. Yeah.
So it's a big leap to go, oh, homeopathy worked for me, I appreciate it, to I need to dedicate my life to this.
Well, yeah, when you start these things, you don't think, oh, I'm going to dedicate my life to it, right? You think, yeah, I just want to do a bit of research, and then suddenly you realize, yeah, you've dedicated your life to it. But as a scientist, as a physicist, I just thought, well, this is a fascinating question. It's really begging some really fundamental answers here. What's happening here? So I thought, as a scientist, this is a very worthwhile and valid topic. And for sure, the attacks have been, terrible. I mean, never, when I started, I never expected this level of animosity. The media really attacking us, and like at the end of it, it's a scientific inquiry, and why should it not be okay for us to just research it? You know, why is it suddenly like such a big deal? All we want to do is the research and find out, does it work? Yes, no. How does it work? You know, is it this theory? Is it that theory? These are pretty neutral questions at the end of the day. We're not saying believe, we're saying let's find out. And then so it's interesting that you get this really kind of attacks, and whereas for me it is first and foremost just scientific questions that can be answered and should be answered through scientific inquiry, and we have the methods. You know, we can do clinical trials, we can do experiments in the lab, and that's what kind of I'm doing. So all that is doable. So it's just about getting away from all the emotional stuff, where like, oh, it's impossible, and who cares? Just do the research.
So have you had obstacles come up for you in your career and your work because you do homeopathic research?
Yeah, I mean, as most people know, I mean, like, if you're a scientist, you better hide your interest in homeopathy. And I was doing my postdoc in London at Cancer Research UK, and pretty much, the day my director of research, so they found out I was interested in homeopathy, then pretty much nearly got fired that day. So I had a lot of senior PIs come to my rescue saying, no, you can't fire him, we need him. So eventually it was agreed that everybody's allowed a strange hobby, and my strange hobby was homeopathy, and everybody kind of turned a blind eye on my strange hobby, and that was that. But it was pretty intense for a few days, yeah.
Why do you think there's such an intense negation of homeopathy? Even people talk about career suicide if you go into research on a homeopathic subject.
So I did my PhD on water structures. So I kind of know really intimately the arguments why it's impossible, why in principle what we're looking at just seems impossible from the conventional side. So I always go back to the fact that we have evidence that it works clinically in different experiments. And then all skeptics say, oh, well, it's not clear evidence. And well, my point is, like, there is enough evidence to find out more. If there was nothing, then we know. But there is always kind of this effects that are there that we see that are reproducible, for individualized homeopathy. Meta-analysis is very clear. There's something there. We see these very good studies coming out with on piglets. There's a very clear signal. The replication of the basophil experiment is very clear. Really enough for us to go and inquire further. And it's really up to us as scientists to come up with the explanation. Okay, we don't have the tools yet to explain it, but it's really the job of the science to explain it, not to go, oh, I can't explain it, therefore you're wrong. So I think it's quite exciting, really, to have a situation where we just don't quite understand it yet. And so it's just setting up a field of inquiry where, on the one hand, we have observations, no explanation for them. Let's find out.
And now, what are you doing? What kind of work are you doing?
So right now, I'm setting up another charity, the Water Research Foundation, which is hosting the Water Research Lab in Heidelberg in Germany, to do precisely the type of fundamental research that we really need to understand better water, in particular, which are at the heart of the homeopathic dilutions and succussions. So that's what we're investigating and setting up the lab to also to look at these effects and also the questions.
Brilliant. Well, I wish you a ton of success with that. It's much needed work, and maybe I think it could answer a lot of other questions outside of just homeopathy.
Yeah, and just on that point, I think it's very exciting stuff. I mean, I think the answers that we will get go far beyond what just homeopathy. It's very exciting. There's some very fundamental questions that about biology, about what is healing, what is health. All these questions seem to be linked intimately to this type of research. So it's very exciting in terms of its possible implications. Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I wish you lots of success.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Check out the website, magicpillsmovie.com. Sign up for the newsletter. It's how we get our advocacy work out there. And check out HRI-homeopathy.
No, HRI-research.org.
Sorry.
That's the one.
And there is a wealth of information on the HRI website, so it's really, really worth a visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ananda.
And see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool.
We're still